be willing to kiss him in public means she really fucking liked him. Yo, what's going on? Welcome to episode 136 of the podcast. I rushed through this episode. We got a lot of links, a lot of information, a lot of shit for you this time. It's a little bit longer than I thought, but I'm happy with the timing of the episode. Again, my apologies for kind of rushing through information. But you know, you got a lot of stuff that you can look through on your own. Dating stuff, Japanese societal stuff, of course, Deciphering Japan review, and some other shit. I just forgot what the fuck I talked about. But all right, y'all. Before that, please remember, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, do all that stuff, all that good stuff. Our numbers are slowly ticking up. I appreciate you guys for that, and I'm trying to get it to go this way. Well, this way, the positive direction. So, all right, y'all, do your thing and enjoy. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we are ready to rock. Y'all. What's going on? Welcome to episode 136 of the podcast. I hope y'all are doing well. I'm doing well. On this final night, as I have this Kieran, my testing. I'm sorry, my earphone. Okay, there we go. My earphones sounded a little funny to me, but make sure everything's. Oh shit! I just fucked everything up. Okay, I just completely fucked everything up. All right, I'm just gonna stop touching stuff. Okay, y'all. Yeah, I'm drinking a Kieran. This isn't the one I wanted to drink. I drank the good beer I had. It's like a Kieran half and half kind of thing that they came out with. I haven't been drinking beer recently because I'm trying to, exercise and stuff. But last night and tonight, I just was like, fuck, I want to drink beer. But the other one was fucking good, man. Like, when Japan does half and halves, it's beer talk time. When Japan does half and halves, them shits is like nice. So, yeah, so I just got regular fucking Kieran. Yeah, don't get the wrong impression of me, by the way. Like, I don't actually drink that much. Yeah, but just every time I'm recording, I'm drinking and shit. So you might think, but and I'm telling you guys stories about times I'm passed out on the street and whatnot. But generally, I don't really drink that much at all. But yeah, just, the lubrication of my brain helps me talk, I guess. It doesn't help me talk, but you know what I mean. It's just nice to relax, talk a beer. It's nice to relax, have a beer, and talk with you guys on an evening. This is gonna be this really is gonna be a quick one. I got a bunch of stuff to do. I'm just gonna blast through a bunch of stuff tonight and get my ass to bed because I was thinking about recording tomorrow night, but then I realized a typhoon's coming. Typhoon's coming tomorrow, so I just watched the news. It shouldn't be that bad tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow it's gonna be fucking rainy as shit. I got like 2 lessons on the books too, which means I'll have to go to work. So if those students cancel tomorrow, then I can just close them and be done with the whole thing and just stay my ass at home and work from home. I got one thing to do from home, but yeah, I gotta roll the dice on that. So yeah, with my job, there's nothing I can do. If I got one lesson, I can't cancel it. I gotta fucking go. So I got 2. I'm really hoping these 2 students are fucking wise and just cancel this shit, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, we're just gonna get into everything. That's about it for me. Let's just get into everything. I got a bunch of shit I need to talk to you guys about. I'm gonna just blast through, like I said, a bunch of topics, a bunch of shit. Okay, I'm just gonna start at the top and just go. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. I'm trying to keep this episode under 30 minutes. 30 minutes or less. Like fuck, it was like Domino's Pizza back in the fucking 90s. By the way, it's a funny story about Domino's. I remember one time when I was a kid, like when they started that 30 minutes or less shit. Man, my house, like my parents are from the Caribbean. A small South American country, technically, named Guyana, which is the only English-speaking country in South America, but on the northern coast, east of Venezuela. So, I'm first-generation American, and so growing up with Caribbean parents, like, you're not eating out. You know, there's no let's order XYZ, you know, we're cooking, you know, we're cooking at home every night. Like we got like pizza like once a year, twice a year, you know. I mean, now of course I miss the home cooking from my mom, you know, so much. But as a kid, you're like, come on, I want some Pizza Hut, I want some Domino's, do something, you know. But it's like, no, it's your mom's curry chicken, you know, some cook up rice, some fucking roti. And I loved it, but you know, sometimes you just want to be a little American kid eating that shit. And like every now and then my dad would be like, fine, you can order pizza, and we would just go crazy, like, oh, it's pizza night, you know. And like one time they had that 30 minutes or less for Domino's. If you're old enough to remember it, like in the 90s. What's that? The airplane. Hopefully the editing takes it out. You guys on YouTube are probably gonna hear it, but yeah, like it's kind of noise I hear through my earphones. It's like a loud ass jet. Okay, anyway, so like one night, you know, Domino's, when they were trying to overtake Pizza Hut as the #1 pizza place, they were just like, look, we're doing a pizza, you know, delivery pizza, 30 minutes or less. If it's delivered from the time you call, 30 minutes or less, or it's free, right? I don't know what the fuck they were thinking, but all hell broke loose in like the early 90s or when that shit went down. Of course, they got a bunch of business, but I would not have wanted to work in that bitch, man. God damn. So like one time I remember like, we weren't scamming them or we weren't doing anything, but like we called, ordered a pizza. The pizza was late, so we called again, and that pizza was late. So like, because they sent the first guy, I think, went to the wrong place, and so they're like, oh, he went to the wrong place, we'll send out another guy. They sent out the other guy. That person was late. So like, I forgot. I think we called again. I think it was 3 of them. I think we called again. And the third person came and we actually paid for the pizza. But then the other 2 guys came. Like the guy, because he was just out delivering. And you know, this is before cell phones, right? So when you out, I guess, delivering, you just out delivering. So I think separately, the first and second guy came to our house with our pizzas, just like, hey, sorry I'm late, here's your free pizza later. And we were just like, oh shit, another pizza. You know, I'm like 11 years old. I'm like, it's like I'm on The Price is Right, basically. It's like, oh, you get a pizza. It's like on Uber, you get a pizza, you get a pizza, you get a pizza. And it was just going crazy. Look in the fridge, you got 3 big ass pizzas, you know, in that bitch. I think we tipped them, you know. I think I remember the way I tipped them. I was broke ass like 11-year-old kid just munching on fucking pepperoni, but but you know, I think like, you know, just for the trouble, whatever, gave them like, you know, $2 or something. Like, it's the 90s, you can give them like $2 when $1 actually meant something. But yeah, that's my memory. I don't know why the fuck I was talking about that, but you know, yeah, I got completely lost. But anyway, 30 minutes or less. That's what I was talking about. 30 minutes or less. I'm really trying to keep this at 30 minutes or less, and I'm failing miserably because I'm just failing horribly at this. Okay. All right. But anyway, let me just try and get the ball rolling. Okay. So I got a bunch of leaks. I got a bunch of links. I got a bunch of other stuff. And I got Deciphering Japan that I want to get to. So first, it's going to be a lot of dating stuff. Rod, the Quora post you got, I'm gonna hold that off until the next episode. It's really good, and I'm just gonna blast through, catch up on a bunch of stuff, and I kind of want to take some time with that one. So yeah, first, previously we kind of talked about fitting into Japan and things like that. Rod sent us a article which is kind of anecdotal information about school life in Japan and how people are kind of can be singled out for abilities like mutants, like for their individual skills, individual talents, and things like that. Speaking English, pronunciation, things like that can have someone singled out, and really blending in is the way to kind of get along much more than in probably your home country, much more than in America. Your unique talents, unique skills aren't really as appreciated, generally speaking. Hopefully that trend is kind of changing. And I guess it also depends on what area, a major city versus like a small town. I would imagine that's the case. I can't remember if I read, again, private school versus a public school. It's kind of similar to how things go, but it's just more magnified because it is Japan. But definitely give that article a read. I'm not going to go through it just because, again, I'm trying to speed through stuff. Yeah. Okay. That's right. What's that fucking guy's name? Sea Dog VA or something like that. Sea Dog VA, I believe. I'm just calling him Sea Dog. But Sea Dog, like previously I talked about his host bar video, which was, I think interesting. Again, I like the guy. I'm not being condescending about your name and all. I'm just not trying to click the thing and find out what it is. But this is another video where he talks about dating in Japan, where I found it very interesting, especially two of his dating experiences. Well, first off, the biggest thing, like from you, man, if you're listening to this, I don't know if you will, or if one of your listeners, anybody, listen to my listeners as well, watching this thing. For me, I watched this whole video. The most important piece of information that he gave all the way in the end of the video. Maybe no fault of your own, maybe, which might kind of, leaving out important information like that might be another reason why, you had a little trouble with the ladies, if you will. But pretty much he went through, I think, 3, maybe 4 anecdotes about ladies, dating in Japan, and the difficulty he had and the weird kind of women he met with because of his lack of Japanese ability. And then finally at the end of the video, he's like, yeah, well, I'm not really that skilled with the ladies anyway. I really didn't get that many dates when I was back in my home country in England. I'm just like, dude, of course, like, you ain't got, I'm just trying to say, you said it. You ain't got no game. Like, if you don't have no game anyway, and you come into Japan and you have a language barrier, of course you're going to have fucking trouble finding a date or meeting someone to talk to. Of course, dude. Like, that's, what the fuck you think? Like, just because these Japanese chicks are like cute and like small, like, doesn't mean like, and you're tall and white. Just saying, doesn't mean like, it's just poof, magically the panties fall off. Like, it doesn't really work like that, in most cases, let me say that. Okay. But definitely watch the video. There are 2 things that he said. First, that the context of that video, that's very important. The fact that he, again, kind of a sarcastic dude, very sarcastic dude. I talked about in the previous episode, You know, again, no fault of his own. That's just his personality. Cool. But I'm just telling you, those sarcasm in Japan are like oil and water. And at least if you listen to watch his previous video and listen to some of his experiences, the way he talks about them, and I'm pretty sure that would be a reflection of the way he acted during those dates. Excuse me, sorry about that. You know, you can kind of imagine how these things are flowing. So, yeah, two of the women he talked about. Let me just double check, make sure I'm still recording. Yep. Okay. So two of the dates. Again, I haven't watched this like for a week, and I'm not going back and watch this again. I'll leave that pleasure to you guys. I'm not, you know, replaying the highlight footage of Sea Dog's exploits in the Japanese dating scene. Like I'm not trying to do that, you know, anymore. But Sea Dog, I want to say Sea Dog VA. It's eating me alive. Let me find out what it is so I can say your name properly, give you the respect that you deserve, because you know you did actually take the time to make and upload this video. See, I was right, Sea Dog VA, right? Why the fuck is it Sea Dog VA? I don't know. Okay, I don't know. But anyway, that's your name. You're sticking to it. I'm sticking to it. Sea Dog VA. Two women he talked about. There were two very much types of women that I think you will encounter dating in Japan, especially if you don't have Japanese skill. I have, in some form or another, encountered these women in my beginnings, my origins, you know. The first one is the first one I remember is he talked about an English-speaking girl, right? I'll call her a girl because I don't know how old she was. My guess is two types. You know, she's either older than him, or she was younger than him, but studying English or living abroad when she was younger. And pretty much what he said was, but the way he talked about her, she seemed kind of jaded. So, which leads me to believe she was older than him, probably mid to late 20s is kind of what I'm picking up on. But pretty much what he said was, you know, he went on his first date with this girl. I'm just gonna call her chick. Sorry, ladies. I'm gonna call her chick. It's just how I talk. You know, if you're offended, let me know. questionsforakil@gmail.com. Cuss me out. You know, call me a chauvinist or whatever you want to do. It's cool, vent. But I just gotta do me. Okay. All right. So anyway, what he did was he went on this date, and pretty much, you know, what he said was they sat down, and from the beginning she was telling him she wants to be in a serious relationship and all this shit, you know. And I've kind of had conversations like that, not with my wife, but other girls I've dated, and where I heard something very similar to that. And pretty much what it leads me to believe is if you encounter that off the break, what's going on is more than likely it's a girl that has been fucked over by foreign guys several times. More than likely you'll hear that from a girl who has good English. My guess, now I'm not stereotyping, but just from my experience and people around me, if I were in that situation and I see a girl who has really good English, who was telling me something like that, like I want a serious relationship, I want to get married, I want to have kids soon, don't, you know, let me know right now if you like me, if you want to be serious. My take on it would be that she's been fucked over by foreign guys before. She might have gotten her English from dating foreign guys, so she might have dated a lot of foreign guys, and you know, a lot of them have dogged her out, been crazy, left her hanging, went back to their home country, a lot of different experiences, which leads her to be jaded. And she knows that you are fresh meat, pretty much. She knows you're new to Japan. She knows that you don't know shit about Japan, Japanese women. You haven't started dating yet. You haven't, you know, she might find you attractive, and see potential in you and realize that you haven't been spoiled by the massive amount of chicks floating around Tokyo. So she's trying to scoop you up early, and she wants to lock you in and trap your ass, like not in a negative way, but just lock you in. And it comes off very crazy and a little bit needy and a little bit scary, because, you know, it's like, you gotta fucking tell me right now, you know, kind of thing. And that's what it sounds like to me. She that girl wanted to get married, and wanted some hope in the relationship, not just like a dude who wants some fucking loving and then like after a few months of sex disappears, pretty much. Like that's probably what's happened to this girl several times. Meeting dudes in nightclubs, meeting dudes in dating apps, meeting dudes in sites, whatever. They're in Japan for a while. They want to have a good time. Like early to mid 20s kind of average dude from a Western country. You just want to like, play the game, get some sauce, and she probably was innocent in the beginning, but met those several types of those guys who were probably attractive to her, got fucked over a lot and became bitter because, that's kind of the pattern that I see play itself out several times. To avoid that, let me give you something you can use if and whenever you come in Japan or if you're here right now. One of the first questions I asked a girl, or I used to, now I don't give a fuck how you learn English or whatever, but if you're kind of attracted to someone, maybe on a date with them, I think I've said this before, find out how they learned English is a really important tell, right? It's a really, the way they answer English related questions will let you know, kind of some of their dating history, right? So, but don't come across with like, yo, you had a lot of foreign boyfriends. Don't do that, okay? But like for me, how I would do it, I'd play fucking, play fucking Inspector Gadget on that shit. Like, oh wow, your English is so good. Did you live abroad? Your pronunciation is cool. Like, no, never lived abroad. Like, huh, okay. Did you go to like international school or something? No. Okay, you just got like foreign friends or whatever. Like, yeah, I just got foreign friends. Cool. Okay, where do you like to hang out? What do you guys do? And if you hear like an average Japanese girl, who hasn't been to any international schools, hasn't lived abroad, might not have too many foreign friends. She learned English through some dick. That's all I'm saying. This is just the truth, I mean, not to judge him. Hey, do your thing, but understanding that, like, yeah, she's dated lots of foreign guys, so you can't see her in the context of a typical average Japanese woman. And on the negative end of that spectrum is kind of the story that Sea Dog VA tells, is how I would see it, right? Again, I would, off the top of my head, I would imagine she's 28. She probably looks younger because he's been in Japan, not that long. So he doesn't really know, again, the aging of Japanese women. So in his mind, she looks like she's 24, but she's really 28, and again, this is wild speculation on my part, but this is just how I imagine that scenario going down. If you can imagine especially in Japan, like the mentality of a girl who's 24 is very different from one who's 28. Very different. So, especially one who spent 4 years, in a cycle of bad relationships with foreign guys who just been in Japan to have fun. Like, so not to blame her if that's anywhere in the ballpark or what the fuck was going on, which I have no way of knowing at all. None of us do. But just saying, right? Giving you some context, right? So, the other one is the maid cafe girl he talked to. And she's like a cute girl and everything like that. Now, this one, his failure in this part, I chalk up to a lack of game. Like, if you listen to his tale, he just ain't got no game, right? Like, because if you notice, like, I'm spoiling the whole video. Go ahead and watch it, give him some views. But he like, for me, like, because when I was listening to him talk about the story, when he said something, I was like, what's wrong with you, dude? Like, as soon as she was like, I think he went dinner or a cafe or something with her, and she said something to him, and basically she was like, blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't matter because we're just friends. And he got really upset about that. I'm like, dude, it's your first date. Apparently she likes you, but she doesn't want to say that. So, you know, on the surface, she's just throwing the we're just friends thing at you to kind of build up that, you know, imaginary wall. So, like, you know, for you to kind of climb over and go get her. Duh. It means she fucking likes you, you know. I mean, of course, that's not always the case, but the way the situation was set up, it kind of sounds like, you know, she was really feeling him. And then if you watch how things played out at the end, you know, for her to be in a maid cafe, working in a maid cafe, and be willing to kiss him in public, means she really fucking liked him. Like, she really liked him, you know. And yeah, she might have said, you know, of course, language barrier. She said some shit that might have offended him, but you can't take that in the context of your native language. It's a language barrier, a huge language barrier, you know. So if you wanted to get the draws, he could have got the draws. Maybe not that day, maybe not the first date, but definitely the second or third at the latest. He could have got the draws. I'm just saying, but he just didn't have enough game. Even like kissing her, you know, the kiss went awkward. Again, maybe this might be a generational gap or a personality gap or something, but I'm like, yo, if she clearly tried to kiss you and it went wrong, I'm gonna go one time out, one more time, let's try it again, and I'm slobbing her down. Come on now, that's just how you do it, right? You know, so I don't know, but that's just me. But again, like, so just listening to his experiences, the whole video, I was just like, what? Yeah, kind of, but But then in the end, when he explained like his lack of experience dating or lack of success, let me say success dating, then it's like, dude, you should have said that in the beginning of the video, add some context to it, was my only caveat about it. But I was entertained. I like the video. I like him. You know, he does a bunch of other like voiceover stuff, which I'm not so much into, but I think, you know, listening to other people's perspective on their type of life and times in Japan is something that's still interesting for me. So definitely check it out. I'm probably going way over fucking 30 minutes. God damn it. Okay. I'm already probably like 45 minutes deep. Look, well, okay, I'm probably coming up on 30 minutes. Okay. All right, come on. Let's keep going. All right. What the fuck is this? What is this? See, I gotta click on these. I forgot to label these links, so I don't know what the fuck. Yeah. Okay, this is good, actually. This is a video. I don't really need to break it down too much, but I think it's another it's like a Dating Beyond Borders video. Sorry, I'm still here for people on YouTube. I'm just checking my computer. Dating Beyond Borders video is good as well. It's really good advice. I'm not going to go into too much detail on it, but it does kind of, in some of their vignettes or scenes or whatever, go through some of the awkwardness that comes with dating someone in Japan, and it gives some advice, some context to the Japanese way of thinking. It's pretty straightforward. I'm not going to go too deep into the nuance of it just for time, but definitely check that one out and just put it in your memory bank. All this stuff recently has been for guys, so I kind of felt a bit bad about that for the ladies. So I did some digging, ladies, and I found some two videos from two young women who are living in Japan. They did, I think, two videos I watched. There's a good enough amount of it to, you know, I can't remember. This is like a week and a half ago. But just to get some context of what a feel for what they're talking about. I can't relate to this shit at all. Of course, you know, they're dating dudes and they're younger than me. So I was just like, and I'm married. So I was just like, I gotta take y'all word for it. Like, all right, if you say so, you know, because I was never really super tight with single foreign women here, you know. I have a few coworkers who, you know, were younger and from different countries, and they were dating in the dating scene, but I was already married at the time, so I was not out and about. I just went out with them like one time, literally. But yeah, so you know, I can't really relate to it too much. But if you're curious about the dating scene for women in Tokyo, or if you are a woman living in Tokyo and want some advice, check out the links, check out the channels. Let me just tell you who the fuck they are, just so that you can find it. More looking at empty screen. They are Gladly Global is the name of them. So definitely check out Gladly Global. You know, they do have personality. I think they might have left Japan recently. But whatever, check it out, support them. You know, good job, ladies. All right, next, last thing we got, deciphering. Let me, before I do this, let me do. Okay, here we go. Deciphering Japan, episode 3. This one's about older people in Japan, right? Now, this episode, I don't really have too much to contribute to on this one. It was kind of accurate. I think very accurate about the situation. Some of the anecdotes, again, I think are not so much an accurate depiction of everyday elderly people in Japan, and so I don't want you to get that idea. You know, it's good to see some of the people that they did highlight to show that, you know, there are people out there taking matters into their hands, living their life and doing things like that. That doesn't represent the majority of elderly Japanese people I meet and interact with on an everyday basis. I'm not saying that's everyone. There are people who do their own thing, who are, you know, enjoying life in their own unique ways, but for the most part, I'm seeing people, you know, on their sofa watching NHK and daytime TV and pretty much living like a mundane life. And I would say that's probably true, like everywhere you go, right? Like your average elderly person is not really living life to their fullest after they hit 60. It sounds kind of sad to say, but I think it's true. I mean, I've met people who are, you know, interact with people who are surfers, people who travel, people who dance, people who, you know, drive, and car enthusiasts and into fashion. I've met all these kind of people who are still elderly, but the majority Japanese people that I see and meet are just kind of like plugging their way through life. So I'm pretty sure if you think about wherever you are, that's probably pretty much the case in most ways. So it's just highlighted even more in Japan because there's just so many older people here. So that's that. Like the dancing lady, you know, I've never seen people like that. I know one lady who's kind of elderly. She's a gilf. She's a gilf. I just call her the gilf lady. If you don't know what gilf is, like, don't Google it. I'm not gonna say it, but just, I don't know, do whatever the fuck you want. Okay, but anyway, GILF if you don't know. But anyway, you know, she dances and she's enjoying her life. That's probably the one person I can think of who's kind of similar to them. But for the most part, I don't really see too many people, you know, dancing like that and have that active spirit like her. So those just don't come to Japan expecting to see ladies like this dancing, tap dancing, break dancing all around, you know, pop locking and shit like all over the goddamn place. You're just not gonna see that, okay? All right. Shoten guy, the old Shoten guy actually know some directly. I've never been to that place, but apparently in my direct circle there are some people I know who live there, and I was told that this particular Shotengai or shopping arcade complex pretty much was bustling with people, and all the young people just moved away and there's just older people left over, and that's just the way it is. And that's probably what happens in happening all over Japan. Now I'm going to bounce around in the episode, not only in and around Tokyo, but especially more in the countryside, which is what leads to the Okutama kind of free houses type situation, right? Because some of these communities, they are wasting away. They're turning into ghost cities. Like, they don't have the infrastructure, they don't have the jobs. Pretty much jobs is the main thing, you know, to attract younger people. So, you know, Japan is going, you can kind of see a bit of what I believe was going to happen. Japan has to contract in some form or another in the future. What form, what shape, I don't know. Are those communities going to just become, you know, they're sprawled out? Are they just going to become more condensed? Are they just going to kind of close down completely and consolidate? Is it just going to be like, you know, fucking Walking Dead looking ass towns more and more all over Japan, and with a few other concentrated communities? I've seen some things on the news where they were talking about that, you know, where like to attract younger people, kind of build more of a city center kind of thing, and just like let the outlying areas just kind of waste away pretty much, you know. Those unused houses, again, owned more than likely by kids or things like that who live in other parts of Japan, but it's just like an old ass house in the countryside. There's no reason to go there. There's, I read in a book that, you know, even some of the unpaid property taxes, it's like no one doesn't even collect it. It's like, fuck it, what are you gonna do? You gonna foreclose on the house? Go ahead, we don't even need the shit. So they just keep ownership, and just, some people just don't even pay their property taxes on it, and so it just stays there, you know, and it just wastes away. Like, that's just what happens sometimes. I'm guessing. I'm not too familiar on the issue, but just from what the episode of Deciphering Japan says, this book that I finished, and, you know, watching on the news, and just my own general sense of what's going on in Japan, that's going to be an issue that's going to need to be molded and shaped. And you know, the new prime minister now, he's kind of hustling, bustling. I got some anecdotal evidence for someone very, 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 very close to the government today. I can't really say exactly who this person is or how, just because, you know, but he was telling me that the new Japanese prime minister is basically, all of the government officials are super fucking busy now, because the new prime minister, Suda, I can't even remember. I can't even fucking remember. Suda, I think I'm gonna say Suda. You know, he has a list of things that he wants to enact, and so he's like, yo, I need this and this and this. So pretty much all the government officials, government bureaucrats are just rushing all over the place trying to get shit done. And pretty much for two reasons, what I was told. There's two main reasons why, you know, he's pushing so hard. One, pretty much because he has only like a 1-year window to be prime minister. Excuse me, sorry, before the, to win over the favor of the Japanese people before the general elections next year. So in that time, pretty much, you know, of course he wants to continue to be prime minister if possible, so he has to kind of show and prove as much as he can, not so much as out of, I would say, passion, but out of like a sense of urgency. Otherwise he's definitely going to be out the window. And two, for the Liberal Democratic Party, which is the ruling party in Japan, to make sure that they stay in power and they keep their approval rating of the Japanese people, he has to kind of show and prove and continue to keep, you know, Abenomics, or Prime Minister Abe's agenda going, and not let the ball drop on there. So apparently it's like all hands on deck inside of the central government, and they just got to push, or he's just pushing everyone really super hard to, you know, get things enacted, get things moving. Generally, the pace in Japan doesn't really go that fast, from the feeling that I'm getting from this person, but it seems like there is a sense of urgency, especially because Prime Minister Abe, former Prime Minister Abe, was in power for so long and was kind of more like a stabilizing force in Japan. And I think before that, which makes sense now that I think about it, because before that, the opposition party for the first time in like 50 years took power. So I'm guessing, like, you know, so that there's no window for any opposition party to take power, they want to kind of smoothly transition and keep the ball rolling. So that's some inside information for you guys for listening to this shit. But anyway, so yeah, like back to the whole Deciphering Japan issue. Yeah, I just think that, you know, Japan is definitely going to be transformed in the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And just the final point about this episode was that there was also a bit about technology and, you know, Japanese innovation and things like that, used to kind of assist people and things like that, which is important. I think is very important, but and it's great. That's what Japan does well, innovating kind of, you know, the obsessive compulsive nature of this country. Really, you know, those kind of detailed innovations does really well. The one caveat for that, the first thing I thought about, like rewatching, just skipping through the episode again, was the fact, like with healthcare, especially for older people, manpower, you know, it's something that can't be duplicated, right? Not yet, not at this stage. We're still, you know, 10, 20, maybe 30, 40, I don't know how many years away from, you know, artificial intelligence that could really, you know, on its own, manage healthcare. Or, you know, hopefully by the time I'm old and gray, there'll be a robot that can fucking wipe my ass and change my diapers, like, you know, hopefully. but we're not there yet. And so you know, no matter how many fucking exoskeleton suits you make, there has to be people to go in them. And that's something that's severely lacking in Japan. And to get that manpower in, of course, you know, it's Japan's nature to be kind of a little bit protectionist of Japanese society in general, but there's also the cultural and language barrier. So even people who might want to come to Japan to work for the healthcare system, you still have to learn Japanese, you have to learn the culture, you have to come here, then you have to train, you have to learn the standards. There's a lot of barriers to entry of this to this country so far, you know, and with the rate of elderly people going like this, and, you know, the number of people coming into Japan going like this, which is remaining flat. So the number of older people skyrocketing, going up, and the number of people, immigrants coming in means relatively flat. That's going to have to hit the wall somehow, some way. I don't really know how it will. I don't really know when it will. You know, I don't really know what to level it will, but it's going to, it has to, inevitably. So that's something else I'm kind of keeping my eye on. But generally, this episode, just for general information about Japan, I think a really strong episode, especially about the dynamics of the aging of Japan. I just wanted you to kind of understand that, you know, some of the people depicted in this. Oh, snap, I almost forgot one more thing. Just to go back to Okutama and that free house thing. One note that I made about this is, yeah, it sounds cool. You just register with the town, 15 years, boom, you're there. But please think about it in a few ways. Newness is really important in Japan. So for you, your hipster ass, like, you know, like, dude, give me a free house. Yeah, this shit looks cool. It's a funky ass Japanese house. Yeah, I'm going to live there. But the average Japanese person, the average Japanese family is not going to do that. Why? Because newness is important in Japan, a very, very important factor in Japan. Just research it. I'm not sure how accurate it is that it's a Shinto-related thing, but that's what I read. That's what pops into my mind. So living in a used house, let alone an old house, is not a good move for most people. A lot of those houses, they're going to be 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. You know, even the house that was featured in there, the mother and her kids, like, they gotta stay there, like, you know, they gotta renovate the place, and you never know about mudslides and earthquake damage. I was talking to my mother-in-law about it, but earthquake damage might not be a big issue because in the mountains or hilly areas, you've heard me say before, are much more resistant to earthquake damage. But still, like, living in the mountains far away from Tokyo, in an older house, it'll get cold, you know, you got bugs, you got animals, you got all this shit. Like, it sounds cool, but you gotta live there for 15 years, you know, a long ass way away from civilization. If you're like a fucking painter or like a sculptor or something like that, like, hey, it's cool, but the average Japanese family is not going to be willing to do that, you know. So in theory, it works. In theory, it's good, but you're not going to see the massive amount of people from Japan rush into Okutama or those kind of areas because of those type of programs. You'll get a trickle, a trickle of an increase, but, you know, generally speaking, like, the average Japanese person is not going to be willing to do that at all. So just keep that in mind as well. And yeah, and definitely take your time, watch the episode. a great episode as well, especially for people, you know, who want to know about the age dynamics in Japan. It covers a wide variety of topics. I really enjoyed it, and I think you will too. Okay, all right, so that's about that. How much time did I put on it? 45 minutes. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, 45 minutes, whatever. So, all right, y'all, let me get out of here. Wish me luck with the typhoon. I gotta do some typhoon prep tomorrow morning to make sure, like, you know, everything. I told my son the typhoon's coming. He almost started crying. He was like, I don't know what the typhoon is, but I'm scared. And I was like, okay. I was like, chill, it's gonna be all right. I calmed him down. I talked him off the ledge and he was fine. But he looked at me for a second and I realized, like, his eyes were, because I was like, yeah, typhoon's gonna come. He was, you know, like the wind's gonna be strong that time. He was like, oh. He's like, what's the typhoon? Like, oh. I was like, okay, just fucking chill, man. So, but I was like, we're safe in here. You know, I'm gonna close the storm shutters and make sure everything's all batten down the hatches tomorrow. So we'll be all right. So, all right, I'll tell you what happened. Probably I'll tell you what happened next time. And I'll have more shit for you then. So, all right, y'all. I'll see you next time. Peace.